felt like I had let myself down. It was not part of the plan. I was only 17 at the time, and none in my plans did I plan that I will become a mother, let alone a teenage mother at the time. All I wanted was to go into medical school the following year and, pursue my dream of being a doctor.
Hey everybody, yeah, welcome to Just for Women Africa. My name is Olaleko. I'm also the founder of Just for Women Africa. And today on the show, we have a Zoom interview all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. We have with us Thandeka Ngcobo. She's a medical doctor in South Africa. She was pregnant at 17 and became a doctor at 23. Today she'll be telling us about her story, her journey on how she became a doctor. Did I get the name right, Thandeka?
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Okay.
All right, Thandeka. Could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and a privilege. My name is Dr. Thandeka Ngcobo. I was born and raised here in South Africa, in KwaZulu-Natal to be specific. I grew up in one of the villages there. I come from a big family of 8 children, and I'm the 7th of the 8 children. And for me, growing up in a big family was wonderful. It's one of the childhood memories that I carry with me. So I always knew I wanted to be a doctor because of various reasons. One of it being that when I grew up in the village, going to see a doctor was a luxury, So I aspired and I felt like the health sector needed more medical doctors. And then I decided to study medicine and join the medical field. So from growing up, I think I was in primary when I decided I wanted to get a doctor. So obviously when I went to medical school, high school, I had to choose subjects right in line with the medical field. And after matric, I applied to UKZN, University of KwaZulu-Natal, and that's where I graduated with a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery. And I enjoy what I'm doing at the moment. It's my dream. I love it, and I love working with people.
Okay, Thandeka, that's really great to hear. All right, how does it feel being told you're one of the youngest medical doctors to graduate from university in South Africa? How does it feel, and especially being a woman?
It's quite an honor and a privilege, I would say, because in the culture or in the era where I grew up, in our African cultures, we have those beliefs where long ago, parents would believe that the girl child should be the one who, maybe she focuses on house activities. They get married when they're still young. They don't get to pursue their dreams, and maybe the boy child will be the one who will be sent to school. So for me, being given the opportunity to actually study and pursue my dream and graduate as one of the young medical doctors in South Africa was truly an honor, and I'll always be grateful to my parents for actually giving me the opportunity to pursue my dreams and to encourage me and actually push me to be where I am today. And I believe that I'm actually a role model to other young African women who, despite of the backgrounds that we grow from, despite that, we say that your background should never define you. So despite from the not so privileged community or family that I grew up from, but to achieve what I've achieved today, it's truly an honor for me, and I pride myself in being counted as one of the young female medical doctors and who are actually serving their country and inspiring greatness and hopefully bringing about good change to our country at large.
Okay, Thandeka, that's really lovely to know. Okay, I was reading up your biography, and it said that you were pregnant whilst in medical school. Can you tell us can you tell us the experience and how it made you feel, and if you got any support from home or friends, or were you discouraged? Can you tell us exactly how it made you feel?
Okay, so I've always been the good girl, in the family. There's 5 girls at home. I'm the last born of the 5 girls. I'm the 7th born of the 8 children. So having seen my older siblings, how they lived their life, how they had chosen to live their lives, I also had a dream, or I decided how I would want to live my life. And I told myself, I have a child when I get married. I know I don't want to disappoint my parents. At school, I was head girl in matric. So I was always the good girl who every parent would, when they make an example to their children, why don't you behave like Thandeka? Why don't you be like Thandeka? But it so happened that when I started dating, I think I was in grade 11. And when I was in matric, which was the year 2010, just before our final exams, so I discovered I was pregnant. It was one of the worst days of my life. I felt like I had disappointed myself a lot. I felt like I had let myself down. It was not part of the plan. I was only 17 at the time, and none in my plans did I plan that I will become a mother, let alone a teenage mother at the time. All I wanted was to go into medical school the following year and, pursue my dream of being a doctor. When I found out, I couldn't tell my parents, I couldn't tell my sisters, I couldn't tell my friends at school. I was head girl. That meant that my blazer had to be stripped off of the colors. And besides, I was just preparing for my final matric exams. But I had support from the father of the baby and his family. But I concealed the pregnancy for about 7 months from my family, because they didn't know I was pregnant until like a month before I delivered. And for me, that was a very stressful time. There was a point where I thought maybe I shouldn't go to medical school anymore. Maybe I would need to stay at home and raise my child. But I had to go back to the drawing board. I had to go back and revisit my dreams and say, Thandeka, this is what you did not plan, but it has happened. How do we move from here? And I had to encourage myself to say I would need to work 10 times harder or put 100% more efforts than what I was already doing, so that by the time the news comes out to my family that I'm pregnant, at least they will be proud of me. And I think that is what pushed me and made sure that when I matriculated in 2010, I obtained 6 distinctions and I got a B in one of the subjects. So when January we got our results, I made it to the front newspapers. I had done well at school. I was part of the top 10 in our region. Everyone was celebrating, but I couldn't celebrate fully because I was still concealing this pregnancy. I think it was in April when my mom actually found out I was pregnant, because I stayed in varsity at the residences, so I never went home, so they didn't see I was pregnant. Then I delivered. Fortunately for me, after I had my baby, my mom gave me that second opportunity to say, you know what, Thandeka, I think you should go back to school. I will look after your baby. And she did an amazing job in raising my baby girl. Unfortunately, my mom went to be with the Lord 2 years ago, but I'm always grateful for her. And teenage pregnancy, maybe just to touch on that a little bit, is one of the burdens that we face globally in Africa and in South Africa, where we find young girls becoming mothers at a very young age. And that is so stressful mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's not good when young girls fall pregnant. If you look at the statistics, when COVID came and young people were not at school, they were at home, we saw a rise in numbers in the statistics of teenage pregnancy. And that is not good at all, because now we're having mothers as young as 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. And that's, it raises a challenge to us as a society to say, what have we done wrong? What are we not doing okay? And what can we do to make things better? Because becoming a mother at such a young age is just emotionally, it's not good, and even mentally it stresses us. And then we find that most young girls, when they fall pregnant, they drop out of school, and that also then increases the prevalence of poverty in our countries, and that is not good. So it's something that we should encourage young girls to actually say, you know what, if you can focus on your books and try not to get into these activities that we can lead you becoming a teenage mother, please do that and focus on grooming yourself, empowering yourself, and making the best of who you want to be, and start families later. I think that is something that we need to encourage in our societies.
All right, Tega. I'm sorry to hear about your mother. May her soul rest in peace. She's done a really great job in raising your child. Okay, so can you tell us what it was exactly like being a mother and having to go to medical school, studying your books, come back home? What was it really like? Was it a lot of stress on you?
It was a lot of stress. I remember because my mom stayed in the village and I was in Durban where my university was, so it was in the city. I only stayed at home for 2 weeks after I delivered my baby, and I had to go back to medical school for my June exams. It was painful leaving my newborn daughter and having to go back to the city. That meant I couldn't, see her every day. Unfortunately, I couldn't travel from home to varsity. I would only see her during school holidays. When she was sick, I couldn't be there for her physically. I would call over the phone and ask, Mom, how is she doing? If she ran out of nappies or milk and Mom would call, I would have to arrange means of trying to get that from the city to the village to her, so that the baby would have nappies, that the baby would have food, So emotionally for me, as much as I knew that I was given a second chance to correct my mistake and focus on my studies, but emotionally and mentally it was draining. When I would go home during holidays, I had to become a mom, and for those few days, leave out the books. I couldn't take my books home to study because there was no chance. Only when I was back at varsity at Res where I could study. So, I had to be 2 in 1. Like mentally, when during holidays I would become a mom, and when I'm back at school, I'm a student. And medical school is not a walk in the park. It requires your dedication, a lot of hard work, and it just requires you to be in the right state of mind. So I tried my best, and I would say I'm one of the lucky ones who were able to make it through medical school and being a mother at the same time, but it was not an easy journey at all.
Okay, let's move away from how you became a doctor to present now. How long have you been a doctor for, and what do you want to specialize in?
So I started my internship in 2017. So I've been working just around about 5 years now. I did my 2 years of internship, I did my community service, and then I'm now an independent practitioner, medical officer grade 1. Initially, I loved pediatrics. I think I've always had the love of children, so I always imagined myself as, the children's doctor. I'd get along with the kids at hospital. Pediatrics was actually one of the rotations that I actually enjoyed. Unfortunately for me, during my community service and post-community service, I never had the opportunity to actually work in the pediatrics ward, in the child ward, because of various reasons. I ended up being exposed more to community health, where we would do outreach. We visit clinics that are far from the hospital. We visit different communities, once a week, different communities where they get to see a doctor. So we actually bring the hospital to them because, some of the villages are far from the hospital, so people would need to travel far. I then fell in love with family medicine, which is currently what I'm doing at the moment. I'm a family medicine medical officer. And for me, I believe that primary health care is actually, where we need to focus on, because that's where there's a gap between the communities and the tertiary level institutions, which are our hospitals. It's where we get to interact with people in their communities, and that's where it's the first or the primary contact of a patient and the doctor where they're seeking medical help. So I am now in family medicine, and I'm, like I said earlier on, I'm actually enjoying it. We visit different communities when we're not at the hospital. You get to see how people live in their communities. You get to see how far they need to travel. Actually, when as doctors, you see a patient in hospital, they missed their appointment. They were supposed to come see you last week, they come a month later. you get to understand that it's so challenging for them to find transport to come to the hospital when they have to come fetch their medication and they can't. So I'm really enjoying family medicine at the moment, and I think that's where my focus is right now. With that said, I still love babies. When I get to consult with children, I still enjoy the consult a lot, but I think family medicine for me, community outreach, is what I am enjoying at the moment.
All right, that's great to hear. Okay, we'll bring to my next question. You've been practicing medicine since 2017, 2018, and what's your advice to women out there, your age or younger, who feel like for a woman, for an African woman, a lot of barriers. They feel that it's a man's world, that there are not a lot of opportunities out there for them. What's your advice for women out there?
My advice to women, one, I know it's Women's Month now, it's August, and basically in most parts of the country, we're talking about women empowerment, empowering women. Yes, women do need to be empowered, but I think most importantly, we also need to remind women of the power that they possess, the power that they were born with, and we should then try to liberate them from the oppressions that we face. As women, we face oppression in our workplaces where we are told that men can do the job better than us, where you'd go to apply for a job and then you're told preference will be first given to a male candidate, where when you are working, you find that some people find themselves that their male colleagues are getting paid more than they are, but they're doing the same job. So for me, I would say that we need to know as women that we were born with a very special power. As women, when you are born, we are born with all our reproductive organs, and they mature and grow as we grow. So I always believe that as women, we are born with every power, every wisdom, and every knowledge in us. For us, it's just to find it and make sure that we are liberated from anything that can hold us back, and to always remind women that we are so powerful, more than we can think. Maybe it takes for you to go maybe an extra step to identify your greatness, to identify your capabilities. I know it's not all of us who are born with the silver spoons in our mouth where we have everything. But if we work hard with determination and never forget where we come from and where we're heading to, we can achieve and we can do great things. And if along the way you encounter barriers, let us use that as a catalyst to actually encourage you to say, I want to work harder, I want to work 100 times more, than to say, I've encountered a barrier, this means this is the end, this is where I'm stopping. The sky is not even the limit. And I think nowadays, for most of our African countries, women are being given the opportunity to show what they are capable of doing. So I would say, let us be prepared that when the opportunity is presented to us, we are able to grab the opportunity with both hands, instead of sitting back and just hoping for a miracle to come, from out of the blue. So we should always be prepared to take upon the leadership positions, be prepared to get into streams where we were told previously only for males, be prepared to reach for the stars, and be prepared to inspire one another as well, and inspire greatness even for the generations to come.
All right, Thandeka, that was really, really lovely. We appreciate you coming on the show to tell us your story on how you became a doctor. We wish you all the best, and we look forward to interviewing you again in the future.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation, and definitely I'll be looking forward to coming back just to chat to you and the rest of the country as well.
All right, but before we sign off, do you have any last words?
Last words, especially to young people. I'm still young, so I'm not yet 30, so I still believe I'm still in the young group, in the youth. I would say for young people, always have a dream, because life without a dream is like a bird with broken wings. It doesn't serve a purpose to fly. So, and a dream is always going to be something that's able to push you and encourage you to a direction and know where you are going, and you'll be able to have something that is encouraging you to work hard and make sure that you reach your dream. And giving up is never an option. It should never be an option for anyone.
All right, Thandeka, thanks a lot for coming on the show. We wish you all the best, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. Okay, for everybody who's been watching, thank you for watching Just for Women Africa. Do not forget to like, hit the subscribe, tell a friend who knows a friend. And thank you for watching Thandeka and I all the way from Johannesburg, South Africa. And till the next show from Thandeka and I, it will be bye. All right, Thandeka.